Before we start, imagine this for a second. You spend 9 years building a company. You sacrifice weekends, holidays, even time with your child. Then on Christmas Eve, at your own family's party, your mother-in-law pulls you into a room and quietly says, "It's time to replace you." That's exactly what happened to me. And the most painful part, my husband already knew, but what none of them expected was that the woman they pushed out that night would walk into something far bigger before sunrise. My name is Lee Pierce. I'm 39 years old. And this is the night my entire life collapsed and somehow rebuilt itself before morning. The eggnog was still warm when Mildred Donovan pulled me aside at her Christmas party. She didn't smile. She didn't offer me a drink. She simply closed the door to her study, folded her hands on the desk, and looked at me with those cold blue eyes. "Lee," she said calmly, "it's time for Donovan River Logistics to move in a different direction." I felt the floor tilt beneath me. For 9 years, I had worked for her family's shipping company along the Mississippi River. I started as a junior logistics coordinator. Within a decade, I'd climbed to senior operations manager. 9 years of late nights. 9 years of emergency calls when barges stalled during storms. 9 years of missing holidays with my daughter, all for their company. Outside the office door, Christmas music played softly. Guests laughed. Glasses clinked. My 11-year-old daughter Kendall was upstairs with cousins, probably building gingerbread houses. Everyone thought this was just another holiday celebration. For me, the ground was disappearing. Mildred continued speaking like she was discussing weather. "You've done good work," she said, "but the industry is evolving. Automation, digital tracking, predictive logistics." Her tone sharpened slightly. "And frankly, Lee, you've resisted those changes." Resisted? I almost laughed. I had spent 3 years arguing that pure automation wouldn't survive the Mississippi River. Signal failures, old cranes, manual overrides that saved millions in cargo losses. But apparently those realities didn't fit the shiny new strategy. Mildred leaned back in her chair. "Dylan Turner will take over operations starting January 15th. The name hit me like a punch. Dylan Turner, the 28-year-old consultant I personally trained 6 months earlier. Vanderbilt MBA, she added proudly. He represents the future of the company. I stared at her. 9 years of loyalty, replaced by a PowerPoint and a younger resume. "You'll receive 6 months severance and a year of health coverage," she said. "Very fair terms." Then she delivered the final instruction. "Don't tell Garrett tonight. Let the holidays pass peacefully." "Garrett, my husband, her son," I nodded slowly. Then I walked out of the study. The Christmas party continued exactly as before. People toasted. Someone started singing along to carols. No one noticed that my career had just been erased. I grabbed my coat, slipped out the front door, and drove home through falling snow. Garrett came home just after 1 o'clock a.m. He stopped in the hallway when he saw the 2 suitcases by the stairs. "Lee, what's going on?" I sat on the bottom step, still wearing my coat. "Your mother fired me tonight." He blinked, then rubbed his forehead. "Yeah, she mentioned restructuring a few weeks ago." The words hung in the air. He had known, he just hadn't told me. That hurt worse than the firing itself. Garrett sat beside me but didn't touch me. "Look, Mom believes the company needs a full modernization push." He hesitated before continuing. "And technically, the house and my company shares are still under her trust." There it was, the real reason he stayed quiet. "If I fight her," he said carefully, "it could jeopardize everything. The house, Kendall's school, our future." Not outrage, not support, just calculation. I stood up slowly. "I understand," I said, and surprisingly, I meant it. He reached out slightly. "Don't do anything drastic. Stay tonight, we'll talk tomorrow." But something inside me had already shifted. I'm not staying somewhere I'm only valuable when it's convenient. I recorded a quick voice message for Kendall. "Hey, sweetheart, Mommy has to take care of something tonight. I love you bigger than the Mississippi. We'll get hot chocolate tomorrow." Then I picked up the suitcases. Garrett didn't stop me. 20 minutes later, I was sitting inside Union Station in St. Louis. The giant hall was nearly empty. A janitor pushed a floor buffer slowly across the tiles. The departure board blinked quietly overhead. I bought the earliest train out, 6:45 a.m. to Chicago. Then I sat on a wooden bench and stared at the snowfall outside. 9 years flashed through my mind. Flood emergencies, late-night contracts, missing Kendall's school play because a shipment went wrong. All of it for a company that replaced me overnight. Around midnight, a man approached the bench. Tall, dark coat, calm expression. "Lee Pierce?" he asked. I nodded cautiously. "My name is Lucas Adams," he said. "My mother asked me to find you." I frowned. "Find me?" "Yes." He gestured toward the exit. "She believes you just got fired." My stomach tightened. How could she possibly know that? Lucas gave a small smile. "Because my mother has been watching Donovan River Logistics for 2 years." I blinked. "And tonight, when your access badge was deactivated at 9:47 p.m., our system flagged it." The words made no sense. "Your system?" Lucas nodded toward the snowy city outside. "My mother owns Adams Freight Solutions." The name hit me instantly, one of Donovan's biggest competitors. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. He held the door open. "Because she'd like to meet you." I hesitated. It was nearly 2 o'clock in the morning on Christmas Eve, but Lucas added one more sentence. "She's been waiting a long time for this opportunity." And that's when I realized something. Tonight wasn't just the end of my career. It might be the beginning of something my former family never saw coming. And what happened next changed everything. When Lucas Adams walked me into a glass tower overlooking the Mississippi at 2 in the morning, I expected a quick conversation. Maybe advice, maybe sympathy. What I didn't expect was a job offer that would completely rewrite my life. The elevator opened onto the top floor. A quiet office, floor-to-ceiling windows, the river glowing under falling snow. A woman stood near the glass. Silver hair, sharp posture, confident presence. She walked forward and extended her hand. "Lee Pierce," she said. "I'm Marilyn Adams." Her handshake was firm, the kind that told you she'd spent time on docks and warehouses, not just boardrooms. "I know what happened tonight," she said simply. Then she poured coffee and slid a contract across the table. "I'd like you to become Director of Operations at Adams Freight Solutions." The numbers made my heart skip. A 6-figure salary. Bonuses, equity in the company, full autonomy over 12 regional teams. I stared at her. "Why me?" Marilyn smiled slightly. "Because MBA graduates can design systems." She leaned forward. "But you've run logistics at 3 in the morning when a barge is stuck and millions of dollars are waiting." She tapped the folder. "That experience can't be taught." For the first time all night, I felt something shift inside me. Not anger. Not sadness, opportunity. Still, I hesitated. "I need one night to think." Marilyn nodded immediately. "Of course." She handed me a hotel key. 2 months fully paid. No pressure. Then she added quietly, "Your previous company made a mistake tonight. Don't let it become yours." The next morning, I signed the contract. 3 days later, I started work. Within weeks, I was on docks from Memphis to New Orleans, fixing a failing freight network. But unlike Donovan, this company actually listened. Dock workers suggested changes. Drivers pointed out delays. We rebuilt the system together. Within 3 months, the operation moved from loss to profit. For the first time in years, I came home at night with energy left for my daughter. Meanwhile, Donovan River Logistics began to collapse. The new executive pushed full automation across every terminal. It looked impressive on spreadsheets. But the Mississippi River isn't a spreadsheet. Signals failed. Cranes malfunctioned. Shipments got delayed. Major clients walked away. Within a year, they lost nearly 30% of their volume. 2 years later, the company filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The Donovan empire that once controlled half the river freight market slowly dissolved. Assets sold, warehouses auctioned. The headquarters converted into apartments. My ex-husband eventually took a small job coordinating rail schedules. My mother-in-law disappeared from public life, and I never chased revenge. because by then, I was too busy building something better. 3 years after that Christmas Eve, I now oversee the entire Midwest division at Adams Freight Solutions. Billions in freight move through our network every year. Teams across 8 states trust my decisions. But the real victory isn't the title. It's the quiet moments. Dinner with Kendall, movie nights, a home we chose together. No family politics, no loyalty tests, just respect. That Christmas Eve, I thought my life had ended. But the truth is something I learned much later. Sometimes the people who push you out of their world are unknowingly pushing you toward the one you were meant to build. And the moment you stop waiting for them to recognize your value, you start creating a life where it's recognized every single day. The Mississippi River still flows outside my office window. Steady, powerful, always moving forward, just like we did.